Hi, welcome back to the Jac and Glen channel. I'm Jackie.
I'm her husband, Glenn.
He's my husband, Glenn.
Hey, before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that bell notification so you don't miss any of our reviews.
And as always, if you like listening to audiobooks, click the link in the description for a free 30-day trial with Audible. And you can use the Rakuten link so you get a $10 credit when you shop online.
Definitely. Let's get popping. This is Retreat, Married at First Sight style. Retreat, Married at First Sight style. Let's get ready. We have 4 couples again going on a retreat. It's a couple years in a row that all the couples haven't gone. So,
I mean, obviously Chris and Paige weren't going to be there. I'm very happy about that. I think episode before last was the last time we'll see any of them until decision day. So
I think
I'm happy about that. They would have ruined the trip anyway.
Yeah, they would have. I think a lot of people are happy that Chris and Paige didn't go. I think Eric especially is happy because think about it, Eric hadn't
he ain't even thinking about that.
But he hadn't seen Chris since the Vegas incident.
Right.
So again, there's no drama. There was no fighting. You didn't have to worry about holding anybody back. And I think that's a good thing. Now, I think they knew Chris and Paige wasn't going to be there, but I don't know if they was 100% sure.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure they were sure. I know all the ladies knew. But anyway, so we have a little bit of all the couples before they go. So I don't know if you want to hit that real quick.
Yeah.
But the main thing is that we see Haley and Jacob preparing to go to the retreat. And he says they've had quite a bit of tension lately, very recently. And it's a 5-hour drive. Them in the car for 5 hours. He's like, it's a no for me. So they decided to drive separately.
Yeah, and which I'm not even 100% sure on, what even we didn't even get to see what the tension was. But 5-hour drive, I mean, to me, I just look at driving with your spouse as a time to bond, to communicate. Not
if you don't like them.
Well, not if you don't like them. Of course you don't like. But they had an argument that morning. They always on again, off again, reset button. But again, it could have been a time where they could have been there and really had a moment for them, where they could have gotten some things straight. Conversation. The other person can't run. You can't leave. You're on the road for 5 hours. Which, by the way, I don't know why we're gonna take 5 hours on that trip. Actually, it's about 4 hours to get there. But they don't drive like we do.
No, but
well, excuse me, they don't drive like I do. So,
but I mean, Google doesn't take that into account, and Google said it should only be like 4 hours.
But yeah, anyway.
4.5 hours, something like that.
But again, I think they should have rode together. To me, I think it shows unity, and we see a little bit later on what happens because they don't ride together.
Yeah. Real quick, Virginia and Eric, we see them riding to the retreat. And they talk about how do you think it's going to be over this weekend? And Virginia says, "Yeah, I think we'll kill each other." What?
Dog, she already know because they've been having tension, and we saw from last week's episode, even leading to this week's episode, it's been a lot of tension between Virginia and Eric about living situations, about animals, about the way he talks to her, about her being alone while he's gone, moving in and out. So there's been a lot of tension. So they've been back and forth as well. And she says that a little bit later in the episode that they had some rough weeks because they haven't been holding back the arguments.
Yeah.
And so we see them in the car, and he's like, "Well, only because of you."
Yeah, he said if they have a fight, it won't be because of him.
Yeah.
And he's not going to allow that to be said, that the fight started because of him. And then he even says, I don't like how you get on me in front of the cameras.
That to me was, again, I've always said it, and I said it again, they always make deals. Virginia and Eric has made a deal since day one.
When you say they always make deals, you mean couples?
Couples.
Uh-huh.
Couples. I mean, couples make deals, but especially this season's couples, I think really have made deals. I think Ryan and Clara has made a deal about what they will and will not do on camera. I think Virginia and Eric made a deal about what they will and will not do on camera. And we know from last season, Miles and Karen had a deal about what they would and would not say on camera. A lot of that conversation happened in the bedroom. So again, to me, I think it defeats the purpose of the show. It shows experiment. You have some tips, but you're like, "Oh, you always getting on me in front of the camera, dog."
Mm-hmm.
But you're trying to portray that you don't do anything wrong.
Right.
And you always want to make it like, "Oh, but you get on her all the time in the camera." I think he gets on her all the time in front of the camera. Whether it's about drinking, about her hanging out with her friends, whether it's about the dog Rocky, whatever case may be, he's always getting on her like she's his teenage daughter. But again, I didn't like when he said that.
Yeah, I don't know. So, they got a little anxiousness about the retreat. We see Brianna and Vincent preparing to leave for the retreat, and she's like, "Well, I have to pee quite frequently," and he says, "Yeah, I know." And so she says, "Yeah, I will probably have to make about 4 stops."
Yeah, about 4 or 5 trips, and I mean, I look again at the same time. Is she 6?
I don't know. I feel like that's a lot of stops for a 4 or 5 hour drive. Like, you should only really, honestly, like, truthfully, we wouldn't make not one stop for a 4 hour drive.
No, dog, we ain't stopping.
But I mean, we do have kids. So
I still ain't stopping.
No, I was gonna say, but with kids, you might have to stop. You might have to stop. But 4 or 5 times, 4 stops in a 4 hour trip. That's crazy.
Even with kids, my philosophy is this: you can hold it while you're in school. You can hold it in the car, or we're leaving early enough. We gotta be an I-10 by 10. And y'all catch that movie reference later. But we gotta get there by 10. We gotta get there at a certain time. We gotta get there. So again, but what really made me think about it though, I thought about maybe it's the medicine she's on for her blood pressure.
Yeah.
That's making her go to the bathroom as frequently as she does. Oh, you raising your hand? Oh, you know about that, right?
But still, you still shouldn't have to stop 4 times.
No, every hour. She's talking about every hour. She got to stop.
I'm just saying.
Does she get up at her desk every hour at work and go to the bathroom? She's a frequent bathroom breaker.
I doubt it. But anyway, he suggests that she uses a bottle, and she was like, it's not going to work. My aim is terrible.
Yeah, you don't want to pee in the car.
Yeah, anyway. I mean, without getting too technical, it's different for a woman to pee in a bottle versus a man. Like, what kind of bottle is he talking about? I know it's a joke, but
yeah,
like,
it's really a joke. But if you got to pull over to the side of the road, let her go in the bottle.
The lady needs a cup.
You might well go ahead and let her, stop at the rest stop.
The lady needs a cup.
How about you let her go to sleep? You drive and you let her go ahead and drift off, and you don't.
Maybe she's the type of person that gets up in the middle of the night to pee too. So that ain't gonna work.
She can't wake up. She's not waking up in the middle of pee. Look, I'll drive for 4 hours, and by the time you wake up, we're there. we're there. Anyway,
yeah. He's excited about the retreat because it's getting close to decision day. So, time is winding down. So just some time for them to, connect a little bit more. And I'll touch on them real quick because we find this out later. But Clara and Ryan, they're getting prepared to go to retreat. They go later. They don't come till the next day. They leave 6:15 in the morning. And
yeah, because Clara has to work.
Yeah, Clara had to work, and they're just hoping to have a calm and relaxing weekend.
Yeah, they just want to relax. I mean, when you go on retreats, you don't want drama. I mean, even like, of course, when you go on your honeymoon, you want drama. We know who brought the drama last time. Again, I said at the opening of this, because that person's not coming. The rest of these couples are kind of mellow.
But that kind of drama.
That kind of drama, yeah.
Not that kind of drama. But also
even couple drama.
In his side video, Ryan says, he's dedicated to the marriage part. Where they talk about the fact that he's dedicated to the marriage part, but not sure about the falling in love part.
Again, he got some.
Claire don't like that.
He got some things he got to work through. I mean, he got the religion thing again, and he got the sex thing. Well, the sex thing is not a big issue for him, but the religious thing is a major issue for him.
Yeah. All right. So they're going to Hilton Head, South Carolina, and remember, Haley and Jacob drove separately. She actually left out before him, but amazingly, maybe she made stops too. Apparently, Jake gets there before her.
I think really reading context clues. I think she made the stop at the grocery store.
Oh, probably
because remember she was cooking dinner.
Maybe
she was supposed to cook dinner for everyone. So I think she stopped at the grocery store, and then Jacob got there before everyone else.
Yeah, I mean, he absolutely got there before everybody else. So much so that apparently he didn't eat before he got there. He obviously didn't stop to eat because when he gets there, groceries was already there. So, I mean, she might have been grocery shopping for something specifically, but they already had food there. Because he takes the 18-count carton of eggs out and commits to cook 8 of them.
He ate. Talking about protein. Again, you say he might not have eaten.
I mean, plop.
He might have ate, but his protein diet, when you're on a schedule and a routine, we work out for those who work out. I ain't gonna show my guns on this video. Those who work out, You don't let me pull out the gun. Anyway, Jacob was probably on his routine, so he ate the 8 eggs, getting his protein up. And I mean, he didn't scramble those eggs neither. He's like,
he fried them, poached them.
Yeah, with the yolk still in them. Hey, however you eat your eggs, that's on you.
And so he's sitting at the table tossing the eggs back. I mean, the whole egg in his mouth. When Haley walks in and she's like, okay, why are you eating? I told you that we were going to cook dinner. He said, well, I was texting you to see where you were. And my last thing was, where's your ETA? And when you didn't answer, I was like, well, I'm hungry. I don't know when they're going to be here. So let me go ahead and eat. And she was like, well, when you sent me the ETA text, I was literally in the driveway. So I couldn't answer or didn't answer. But
I cried BS on both parts. Because if you're in the driveway, well, you ask her ETA, you already cooked the eggs. The eggs they're already fixed. You're already sitting at the table eating, so it doesn't really make a difference. If you heard your phone, you looked at it, okay, yeah, probably I'll get in the house. Again, I'm not mad at him for eating. If you're hungry, eat, dog.
Mm-hmm.
So he's still gonna eat dinner with you guys. He can still cook with you guys. He just ate some eggs. Now, was it rude to eat before everybody else got there?
Absolutely.
Probably so. I mean, but he's hungry though. Now, was it rude to eat 8 eggs? I don't know how many eggs they have for the weekend.
Bruh.
I don't. That's the part I was like, okay.
That was a lot.
We got all these other people coming. How many eggs do we have for the weekend? But his mind was probably like, look, we need eggs. I'll go out and buy some eggs.
That was a lot. I was like, that's the first thing I thought. I was like, how rude to take almost half the pack of eggs. Like, really?
Half the eggs carton.
Carton pack, same thing. Anyway, rude. So she was like, we were supposed to fix dinner together. He eats his eggs and he leaves out, and she is stuck fixing dinner by herself. She said, I really didn't expect him to help. I thought he would, but
that's
okay.
Jacob's petty. I think in this, not petty, but again, if y'all beefing, to me, you drove separately for 4 hours, right?
Once you get there, you should be on a different.
Yeah, once you get there, you should be different after those 4 hours. You done cleared your mind. You listen to your radio show, or you listen to the radio, your podcast, or whatever you listen to, whatever will ease your mind. You probably thought about the issue, the situation while you're driving down there. At this point, you should be in the morning. You know what? I'm here. I'm gonna relax. We're gonna have a good time. Even for the most part, Brandon was cool for the first day, for the first couple of hours. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But to me, it was like, okay, you're not gonna help her cook. Come on, dog. At least be able to pitch in, whether wash a dish, cut an onion, do something.
Mm-hmm.
He just wouldn't watch TV. I don't know if you saw the clip later on. He had the remote control set beside him when everybody else was coming in on the couch. Jake was like, you know what? I'm not gonna do this. I'm just go sit on the couch.
So we see Virginia and Eric get there next, and they talk about the rooms they're gonna choose, and which we figured out anyway. But Haley says, oh, y'all got the room next to me, not us, next to me, because we have a shared balcony. So we already, you could tell when Jake left that, they don't sleep in the same bed, even though they were supposed to try, because Dr. Viviana said to them to try that. They obviously have not been following those instructions.
No.
And so Jacob goes to his room and Haley goes to hers, and she got a shared balcony with Virginia and Eric. Again,
there's an extra room because Chris and Paige aren't there, so they can separate.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the biggest things that I've noticed. That's why she's able to have her own room. Chris and Paige are not there, and she has a balcony to hang out with a girl. So
yeah. And Virginia asks Haley where Jacob is, and she was like, I don't know, he's around.
She has no clue. She's not even at this point. She's made up her mind. I'm going to enjoy this weekend, whether with him or without him. And that's the way that's where her mind is. Mm-hmm. I'm going to enjoy the weekend. And we see the rest of the couples come in and everybody's,
Well, we only have one more because Clara and Ryan, they're not coming tonight because she had to work. But Brianna and Vincent get there next. And again, Haley states we're supposed to be cooking together. I'm in the kitchen cooking by myself. So.
See, that's petty on her part. She ain't got to keep broadcasting to everybody that she's cooking by herself. They can see. Just and we probably in her kitchen. Come on, y'all. Let's finish cooking. Don't keep broadcasting. Everybody's gonna ask where Jake at. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna know. And don't keep broadcasting. You want somebody, I think when you're broadcasting, you want somebody to say, oh, girl, what's going on? What's wrong? Why y'all separated? Why y'all, let it ride. It's not about you. It's about the couples.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about you.
So as they sit down to eat, talking about the food, Vinny makes a comment that he's gained some weight. He said he's gained 18 pounds. I'm surprised. 18, that's a lot.
Winnie the Pooh.
It's 7. Vinny the Pooh.
Vinnie the Pooh.
In 7 weeks, he's gained 18 pounds. Like your routine is obviously thrown off a whole lot. Somebody's cooking or eating
Brianna
real
is
good.
throwing down in that kitchen, dog. Brianna is throwing down in that kitchen.
No, that's food. Because remember, they had a big old food budget.
Big food. He's feeling some of that Southern food.
And they have a conversation about what they've learned, what they've learned in this process. And Brianna said, I've learned to have a ton of patience and understanding. And, Vinny jokes like, is that a bad thing? She's like, no, it's just like, that's not normally her. She's not as patient. She's not as understanding. So she's learning a lot about herself and getting outside her comfort zone and doing some things that she usually wouldn't do.
Again, she's the boss. When you're the boss, you do what you want when you want. You don't have to answer anybody. So now she has to answer to Vincent. Again, translation. I got to walk on eggshells a little bit with Vincent. I got to walk Vincent through some things because there's some things he do or don't like. I got to maneuver. Again, and if you really want to, I'm not by myself, so I'm kind of compromised.
Now I was going to say, that's it right there.
I'm not by myself, so I have to adjust being around another person.
I think it's more that than...
But she still has to do all the stuff with Vincent. And I'm not saying it's wrong, but you shouldn't have to walk on eggshells. And we'll see later with the whole situation. It's just, sometimes he can be a 6-year-old.
Anyway, he said he's normally very reserved, and so he's learned how to try to open up.
Yeah.
He's been trying to open up. And we've seen that. And so we go to Jake. Okay, so what have you learned? And he was like, yeah, I'm not sure what I've learned holistically, and he does this whole talk about internally and the time being condensed and external and just a lot of fluff. Basically, I haven't learned anything about myself.
I know who I am.
I haven't learned anything from this process. I know who I am.
I know who I am. I mean, he's mentioning he know who he is. Again, he said it. I'm all in. I'm 39. Well, 40 at this time. He just had a birthday.
No. He said, I'll be 40.
Yeah, he'll be 40.
When he started the process, he was 38.
Yes.
So somewhere in the process, we think he turned 39 or he's about to turn 39.
About to turn 39. So he's reflecting on the process, and he can't see any movement. He doesn't see any movement on the needle from where he was at the beginning of this process to where he's at now. Again, in his mind, dog, I'm riding out these next week, 7 days, and he can chuck Haley the deuces.
Yeah, she's like, okay, we know what's going on in the inside, but let's talk about what's, the outside things. Let's talk about, like, what have you learned? And you have to have learned something. He was like, oh, yeah, tell me what I learned. And she was like, I'm not telling you, but you can't just focus on the outside when we're going through something intense. It was just a whole little squabble that they had at the table. It was very uncomfortable for me watching it. I know it was uncomfortable for the people sitting at the table. No. And even Bree is like, whew.
I would have been in there laughing because I think it's funny. I mean, we saw Vincent sitting there chuckling, laughing because it was funny. It is like hilarious.
It's not funny like funny. It's funny like, whew, okay.
No, it's funny like y'all being petty across this table. Y'all can't manage to have this conversation outside of us. You know what I'm saying? It's like both of y'all being petty about situations, about things. We know that you don't like each other. We know that y'all got 7 days left. There's no reason for it to go back and forth. And mind you, everybody else is eating. Jake ain't got a plate, so I guess the 8 eggs did fill him up.
Yeah, but also he probably not necessarily going to eat what they fixed anyway because his high protein diet, his egg and meat diet.
Because his diet, yeah.
Yeah, but Eric is like in awe. He was like, I knew they weren't on the same page, but I didn't know it was like that. I mean, for them to go back and forth like in the presence of people, it was like, wow, y'all really gonna have this petty argument in front of everybody. And so Haley said what she learned was about communicating her emotions. She said like she's had a lot of growth. And Jake's retort was, I just feel like I've been on one really long bad date.
Yo, dog.
Bad first date.
He's like he's not feeling her again from she's not physically attracted to him, to what we seen last week about the bracelet situation. about her being, being very. I think her competitiveness always affects him as well. By her talking about his clothes, he's like, "Yo, I'm done. I'm checked out. I'm done." And I think some of those things he would be able to get over, but he's done. And he's like, "Yo, I'm done."
Yeah, he's like, we don't have any connection. And Bree and her side videos, like, so everybody's learned something in this process except for Jake. Haley says it's been a lot harder than she thought it was.
Yeah.
She said it's been 95% of a challenge. His retort is, I say 97%. It's always something. It's always something. He was like, the whole time, only 3 days weren't hard.
And that was the first 3 days. That's the days that he was getting some. Then he got some. And after that, it became difficult.
She said, okay, you said those 3 days weren't hard, but you weren't on my side for those 3 days. So she trying to say, while you thought it was okay for those few days, it still wasn't good for me.
She wasn't attracted to him from day one.
Wow.
She just got drunk and had sloppy sex with him. And again, the conversation was terrible. And then she didn't like his 80 clothes. So at the end of the day, she don't want a man wearing fanny pack and sandals with a graphic t-shirt.
He called sis fake. He said, because I wasn't faking it, you were. She was like, wow, so you call me fake. So the thing is, I was uncomfortable. I was trying to push through the feeling of being uncomfortable is what that was, and I'm not saying I necessarily tried all that hard. I'm not saying you tried all that hard. And he was like, yeah, I did, but it was too heavy. She was like, oh yeah, it was too heavy. I said, did she just do air quotes? Like,
yo,
what?
It's petty. It was
terrible.
It was like a tennis match. He hit Patty, she hit it back, and hit Patty, and they hit it back. It was pettiness going around the room. And again, I think he tried, but he wasn't patient with her while she was trying. And because of him not being patient with her while she was trying, he took it as being her not liking him, and which it kind of was. But again, she was getting comfortable to know him. We only 3 days in. He jumped in head first in the water, and she's out there trying to put her toes in the water, trying to get there. And he wanted her to be at the same level he was at because this is his last shot. That's what he wanted. That's the biggest issue. He jumped all in, and she was hesitant. And because she didn't jump head all in with him, they've had a problem since day one.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. So when she did that, Virginia's like, hey, don't mimic him. Come on now. And Jake's all sarcastic, like, yeah, that's so mature. It was just a mess. Eric says out loud, awkward. Everybody's like, yeah.
So they didn't care at that point.
Jake's like, yeah, that's what it's been for me. Awkward. I'm like, you should never have. At this point, like you said, they don't care. So they're going to have this argument in front of other people. But I was just like,
they put on a show.
Don't do that.
They put on a show for the people that was there. They gave them this is what you guys don't see when we at home. This is what happens. This is why we're sleeping in separate rooms. This is why I haven't kissed him. This is why I haven't even given him a hug. This is why I haven't even been with. This is why he don't even have his bracelet. Because he's just petty. Y'all don't even know.
A mess. And so as far as what Virginia learned, she says, for her, she learned that if you love someone, it doesn't mean you have to like them all the time. Because she thought marriage is, I love somebody, I like them all the time. But she's learning that that's not necessarily the case. And just because you don't like them all the time doesn't mean you can't love them. It doesn't mean you can't get past that.
I mean, marriage is like that. There's some days that you love your spouse, but there's some days they rub you the wrong way. They just rub you the wrong way. And no matter how long you've been married, there's some married couples who've been married for 15, 20, 30 years. And there's some mornings the spouse rubs them the wrong way. Do you stop doing for them? No. Do you stop caring for them? No. Do you just go ahead and call your divorce lawyer? Say that y'all don't.
Sometimes they do.
Well, sometimes they do.
Some people do.
But I mean, the day that you disagree as husband and wife, you're going to disagree. You come from two different backgrounds, and I got to look at it. And I think we have to put in this perspective here. These people only been together for 7 weeks. You don't know everything about each other. You have up and downs. You have different views. You have different values. Just everything's different. You have different life experiences. So where you're not always going to be on the same page when it comes to certain things. But you have to be willing to listen and be willing to compromise. And I think regardless of how long you've been married, you're going to have to be able to listen and be willing to compromise and not try to make it a win-loss or I'm right, you're wrong. Because at the end of the day, because you're married, it affects both of you.
Yeah. And Eric kind of hits on that. He says, he's learned how to be more patient. he realizes, like you said, they had different childhoods, they have different background,
Yep.
they have different ways of thinking, and so he's trying to be patient with her. But his thing is, in the end, what he's not getting from her is he wants to be her number one, but he's realizing that he's not that yet. And I think he's like, I don't know if I will get there, and that's a scary place to be in when you don't feel like you could be number one with your spouse, because you should be, well, maybe number two, because it, in the order, it should be, your spouse should be up high.
Yeah.
If you have a relationship with God,
You got a relationship with God
should
family.
be number one.
Yeah. But she has a whole different pecking order.
Man.
Her pecking order is totally different than most people's pecking order.
Yeah. A mess.
And he falls again.
He real low on the totem pole.
If one is here, Eric is maybe right there.
Yeah, he's low on the totem pole.
He's low on that totem pole.
But the experts give him a game to play. They play MAFSology, Married at First Sightology.
Yes.
For them to play, and it's designed to bring the couples closer together. It's interesting to think, okay, who's going to come out on top? Because the girls are asking guys questions, and if you think it's your spouse, or if you know it's your spouse, you answer, you get a point. Everybody starts with 10 points. If you miss it, you lose a point. Also, if it's your spouse and you didn't answer, you lose a point. So this is all about knowing your spouse.
And going into this, I'm thinking, Brianna and Vincent about to win this.
Right.
I think Brianna and Vincent, because last year, everyone on the last season, we knew, okay, Amelia and Bennett is going to run away with this. They know each other through and through. So if I was a gambling man, I'm like, you know what, Brianna and Vincent is about to kill this.
Yeah. They give they pick names. So we know from previous episode that Eric's last name is Lake. And so they're the Lake Show. Brianna and Vincent are Los Tigres, the Tigers.
The Tigers.
And so Haley and Jacob, it's like, man, they so wishy-washy. It's like they had this little squabble at the table, but then it's like, I don't know, let's pick a name for a team. You can pick. You want me to pick? You can go ahead and pick. And so he picks Team Harambe. Yeah,
the gorilla.
For the gorilla.
The gorilla. Magilla gorilla.
For the gorilla. And so as they're answering the questions, one thing Haley did say is, and we get it from Jake too. They've been talking and they've been listening to each other, but they're talking and telling each other stuff about each other is not helping them connect at all, because we can see as they answer questions like, Jake is hitting everything. Oh yeah, that's Haley. Yeah, that's Haley. Yeah, that's Haley. Yeah, that's Haley.
They knew. I think the what's making them just bump. They know stuff about each other. They just can't let go of. She can't let go of the physical attraction situation. He can't let go of the fact that she is not saying she physically attracted to him and not showing it, or the physical connection. He wants a wife to hug him, to kiss him, and she's not that. So they have all these conversations, and he's listening, he's processing, he's taking in the information. She's listening, she processes, taking information, but they just can't do anything physical, and that's the problem with the relationship.
I think, but I also feel like the more they hear about each other, the more stories, the more she's like, yeah, no, I don't like him. He's weird. Like it was one thing about balloon animals. I was like,
oh yeah, that he doesn't like.
So weird.
He's scared of balloon animals.
And Eric was like, I wonder when that's gonna come up, because Haley knows about it, but the guys know about it too. He told them too.
Yeah, he's scared of balloon animals. How are you scared of somebody who's like, making a balloon?
So weird. But
maybe he got hit with one of those. Maybe some clown at his some clown at his like 8th birthday party was making a balloon animal, and that junk popped to hit him in the eye.
I don't know, but Vincent's like, for Haley and Jacob not to know each other, they are scoring a lot of points, because they've sat there and listened to each other's stories.
Nobody wants to lose to the couple that gonna break up.
Man, it's the girl's turn, and Haley's like, I've listened to a bunch of Jake's stories, so I expect to win out in this. And darn if she didn't.
Again, she is competitive. She is like, she's on the level of a guy competitiveness. She's, how guys are real competitive. She's up there, because again, anytime you go to the batting cage early, So you don't lose.
She's trying to one up him.
You don't lose. Anytime when they racing a go-kart, she's like, yo, she is really competitive. So I recognize her. She's gonna win every game they play. If she was on Survivor, that person she'd vote off because she's winning everything.
And based on the game and how they came out on top, and it was pretty friendly after the squabble. After that, Jacob says, I'm optimistic and I'm hopeful that this could change the tide. It didn't.
It didn't. Don't waste your time. Brother.
It didn't. But so we see Brianna and Vincent talking after the game. She talks about, which we commented on.
Yes.
She's ready to take her glasses off. She's had them on all day.
I was like,
and we were like, we haven't seen her in her glasses much.
Yeah.
I guess she did it for riding purposes.
Riding purposes, and contacts, didn't want to sleep in the car. Again, she's sleeping, we ain't stopping while you peeing.
Yeah. And so they talk about the events for the next day. And they have planned for them to go horseback riding. And she's like, I'm excited. I know it's something you haven't done before. I wanted to do something that you haven't done before. And he's like, yeah, no, I'm not excited about it.
She gonna learn. She gonna learn today.
Well, they talked about that. No.
She gonna learn today. She set up dancing. He ain't like that.
Yeah, not that dance.
Not that type of dance.
He likes the bachata.
She set up the horseback riding. He has a problem with that. And I don't think you should have to. When you're doing something for your spouse, I think there's certain things that you shouldn't have to ask about.
I mean, when you get to a certain point, but let's keep in mind, they've only been knowing each other for 7 weeks. So they're not at the point where she is confident enough to pick something that he'd be into, especially considering how Vincent is. He's got a lot of trepidation about stuff. His thing with the horses is it's a big animal. Anything can happen. I see all this stuff about people falling off of horses, getting kicked, and they get paralyzed. It's like,
I knew Greg was scared to go down the zip line.
Wow.
Greg was scared to go down the zip line, but he did it.
Right.
And it wasn't all this. Vincent, like, nah, he got there like, you know what? I'm not even going to go on a horse. Like, dog, what? We already out here. You got the helmet on. You went to the safety precaution class. Your girl is on the horse, and you about to punk out about the horse?
Mm-hmm.
I'm about to say high yellow tail, but get yourself on this horse.
She was like, I picked it without talking to him, and I know that sometimes he could be uncomfortable with things, but I'm trying to get him out of his shell. That's not always going to work, Brianna. And so he says, I'm going to try. I just don't know how I'm going to feel in the moment, but I'm going to try. That's what he says.
That's all she wanted. But when he got there, he was trying to. The lady had to convince him. Are you 7?
Yeah.
She was like, oh, we'll hold it. We've been doing this for years. The horse is good.
He said he is super nervous. He was super nervous. And
get over your nervousness.
They're walking the horses, and he's like, I don't know. Brianna hops up on her horse. And the best part is, it's not like you just have to jump up on there, like you have to put your foot in the stirrup and just throw yourself over. It's a stool. You stand up on there. You get introduced to the horse beforehand. And he was still like, no, like she really had to convince him.
You get a horse some peppermints. I mean, the horse like you fed it. So hop on the horse. It's not that it's not like you skydiving, right? It's not like you're jumping out of a 20,000 feet in the air. You're right.
For him, for some people, for him, this is like skydiving. It's something.
But they went to the skydiving thing and they did that.
Well, it's horses. Some people have problems with animals. Like he's having a problem with this big animal and getting on top of the animal. And I understand that you don't want the horse to run away with you and you not be in control. It's really a control thing.
But it's a trust issue too, though. He's not trusting again that your wife put something in place that's not dangerous. She's trying to expose you to new things. Again, he's the cat with the long list of things that he want to do. He made the long list.
But he made the long list based on what he knows he's comfortable with already. Come on.
But again, try new things. There's nothing wrong with trying new things.
No.
It's not going to kill you. You got your helmet on.
In the end, they were able to, Vincent got up enough nerve to ride the horse. And it was a lot of, I don't know, is he too close? He's trying to catch up. But he did good. He did good. I was proud of him.
I was too, but one thing I don't like when they sit down on the beach and they had that conversation, I don't like the fact that he told her that you're gonna have to tell me what we're doing before we do it.
But he
I
doesn't like surprises.
don't give me surprises. You gonna tell her how to surprise you, and it caught her some type of way. She may not have commented. Her facial expression, like, hey, who do you think you're talking to, basically.
But at the same time, I understand he want to be prepared, like mentally prepared, because remember, again, he's trying to impress Brianna. He wants her to like him. And
she already likes you, dog.
But he don't want to be in a situation where he'll be embarrassed.
But again, she already likes him. So guess what? In marriages, there's sometimes you're gonna be embarrassed. You're gonna spill some champagne, you're gonna mess up a word, you're gonna do something, and she's gonna laugh. On the horse thing, again, that's part of being vulnerable. You know what? I don't do everything right. I don't know everything. I can make a mistake. I can laugh at myself. I can maneuver. Horses are not my favorite thing, but because you want me to do it, I'm gonna do it. Because there might be a time that he wants her to do something that she's not comfortable with, but she's doing it just because Vincent wants her to do it. So again, I think there has to be a compromise there. And of course, he did it, and he got a lot of brownie points for doing it, and then hopefully conquer some of his fears. But just the conversation behind it, don't do that no more. Don't and not even necessarily the comment. The tone that it came out of was a tone like, oh, you don't do that. You better not do that. Again, some of his insecurities coming out of being embarrassed. Maybe it's the cameras. You don't be embarrassed in front of the world. You didn't, even when he got off the horse, his little vignette, he was like, oh, thank you, Jesus. Yeah. Come on, dog. Come on. It's a horse.
So just to backtrack a little. So the next day, obviously, Clara and Ryan get there. Mm-hmm. They're having breakfast and they're excited about their activities for the day. So they're there to bond as a group, but also to connect as couples. So they have their individual things. One thing Ryan said that he was like, this is like Family Vacay 2.0. Let's hope it doesn't turn out like Family Vacay 1.0, which was the trip to Vegas, which who ruined for everybody. And Haley catches up with Virginia. Haley shows them their room, and then Clara catches up with Virginia.
Yeah.
And they meet in the bathroom alone. And Virginia tells Clara how Eric, they slept in the bed together, but he was fully clothed. They had a halfway argument. They're both really stubborn, and it takes a while for them to make up. And so Haley's like, I realize they're both stubborn. Hopefully they can work that out and it can work in their favor, but it's going to be something to overcome.
The stubbornness is a good thing, and I'm not saying a good thing, but they're working towards something. You're going to have those moments. Again, 7 weeks in, you're going to have those tough conversations because they are tough conversations. Just my thing with her, sometimes she don't see it from I don't want to say the adult view. She doesn't see it from his mindset.
About Virginia, absolutely
doesn't see it from his mindset. I don't want the adult view because she is an adult.
No, she's
her
not.
Her age is an adult.
No, yeah.
Her age is an adult.
She's absolutely not an adult. Well, and we'll find it out later. I was just like, really. So anyway, they Brianna and Vincent talk. Clara talks, about her not wanting to lose herself, and she's doing something different. They are taking it slower. Again, she's kind of on Ryan's pace, and she's just trying to feel this out. She really wants the love thing.
She wants him to say it. And I guess that's my thing. He's been showing it the whole time. He's been showing it in everything he does. She wants to hear the words. And I think sometimes, and this is, I'm not knocking how people are. I'd rather you show me you love me than tell me you love me. I'd rather see the expressions and the things, and some people want to hear it more so. And I'm not saying right, wrong, and different, but that's what her biggest thing is. She wants to hear it. She could care. I'm not saying she could care less. He's showing it, but she wants to hear those words come out of his mouth.
Yeah. So, Brianna says she hasn't been asked because what Haley said was, Clara said is, I've been getting asked a lot, are you losing yourself? And Bree was like, I got asked that once. I'm going to say no. It is a matter of melding us together, but I don't feel like I'm losing myself.
I never understood that. How do you lose yourself in this situation? again,
when you do things that you don't normally do, which Haley is doing. She's usually outspoken. She's not outspoken when it comes to Ryan.
Clara.
Yeah, I don't know why I keep doing that.
They both want to say
Clara's not as outspoken as she normally would be. And I think that's why her friends are asking that. It's like, you're so quiet. Like you said, obviously they made a deal about not talking about this, that, and the other on the cameras or even with their friends and family. But anyway.
But her being outspoken, sometimes you need to tame yourself, though. Sometimes your outspokenness is too far out there that it doesn't need. There's some things that need to be reeled in. You're a wife now, so you can't act like you're like because it not only affect you but it affects your partner, and also coming from where he's at, and it might be an old school way of thinking with Ryan. What you do reflects me, and so I want you to be able to put out in the best light that reflects not only me but reflects our family and what we stand for and how we deal with things. So I don't need you out there being crazy. Now, when it comes to him, she should be able to have a voice and share and communicate and open up. And amongst your friends, be who you are. Be your normal self. Have the conversation, relax and enjoy the moment. But there has to be a guideline and boundaries in there, because I think she was too much of a loose cannon prior to marriage. But she won't marry so much. It's just that he's trying to reel her in. I don't want to say it's controlling, but she's doing it to herself. She's reeling herself in.
Virginia expresses her concern about the standards of marriage that she and Eric have that are different. I don't know. She said she feels like they've digressed lately. They were doing good, but then they've gotten back into these arguments. She said they're complete opposites in some areas. She gave the example that he likes to touch. He's huggy, kissy, huggy, feely. Yeah. And sometimes she'd be like, just leave me alone. But she gonna try to push through.
Yeah. But all couples do that. Marriage couples do that. Sometimes people don't want to actually be bothered. She don't want to be bothered at this moment. We'd have had an argument. It takes her a moment to get over it. So I don't need you to hug and feel me. We'd have just had an argument. I need my space. So she wants her space. Eric is trying to cuddle and act like it didn't happen. Guess what, dude? It happened. So you're going to have to take out and be a moment. So that's what I understand what she mean there. But at the same time, they didn't digress. When you start sweeping stuff underneath the rug, you act like it never happened. It was always there. Their relationship didn't digress. They just never addressed the issues. So now they're addressing the issues, all that is coming to fruition.
You try to skip over that petty comment, but it's okay.
It was no petty comment.
It was.
Oh, no pettiness.
Oh, it was. Yeah. Okay, so. Oh, we all know how that is. Okay, so Haley and Jacob go crabbing.
Yes.
They get some really good crabs while they're crabbing. We see Virginia and Eric. They go on a little picnic. He makes a toast to a great day and a good time together. They got 1 week till decision day. Apparently, she's been calling it D-Day. He doesn't like that negative connotation to the word D-Day. That was a hard day for our country. I wish you wouldn't say that.
That made me laugh because they argued over D-Day. And we understand that it was a terrible day and a hard day for our country. A lot of soldiers were lost. Understanding. I know he's a soldier. But at the same time, it still starts with a D. And it still is the day. So come on, Eric. I think that's too much.
Yeah. So, she says it's an important day. She says she thinks she knows what the decision will be, but she kind of goes back and forth about being unsure what he might say. And he says the same thing. I go back and forth about what you might say too. I'm not confident that you're going to stay with me, not just because you want to stay in a marriage. I want you to stay because you care about me. Don't stay just because you want to stay in a marriage. Stay because you want to care about me.
I think that was key there too, because he knows her history. He knows that she doesn't like to be alone. She doesn't like to be abandoned. She knows that she comes from divorce, and she doesn't want to be divorced like her mom and dad was. So he doesn't want her just to be there. He wants her to be a part and be involved.
Yeah. And, they talk about this fight, makeup cycle that they're in. It's not going to work for the long haul. It's not. And it's not. He's right.
He's right. It's definitely not going to work for the long haul. But their fights are over simple things their fights are over stuff that can be fixed with just a little bit of compromise.
Mm-hmm.
And as she mentioned, he's stubborn, she's stubborn, and nobody's willing to give
At all.
At all,
even when life is at stake. But we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
Clara and Ryan go paddle boarding. They do pretty good. They had a good time. They had lunch afterwards. And so, going into decision day, she says she wants to hear the words, "I'm in love with you." It's not going to happen, honey.
She's setting herself up for failure because if you notice, ever since she's gotten on this love thing, excuse me, and maybe it's editing, after every conversation in which she doesn't get it, they play like some somber music. They make it like she's so depressed, that she's so sad that he didn't say it. Like, oh, this was the moment. Oh, dang. This is the moment. Oh, dang. And it goes on. So, I mean, they're doing her wrong in production to make it seem like every moment she's looking for it and she doesn't get it.
But she says it too. She says, they have so much in common. They've got to develop a good friendship. And it's just like, I'm not sure if we're ever going to move past that. And Ryan does his typical, yeah, sure. Understand. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. I understand. You got to stuff written on cue cards.
I don't know. He didn't have much to say. He was just like, I'm not saying it now, if that's what you're expecting me to do. I'm not going to say it. So from after their activities, they still have time to spend with each other. And so they have an exercise they have to do. And we see Haley and Jacob doing theirs first. And their exercise is to write something and speak very highly of your spouse.
Mm-hmm.
To sort of lift them up and to encourage each other. And so they have to write 2 paragraphs, and they separately in the same room have to write a paragraph. Haley finishes first. Jake's not finished yet. Give me a little bit more time to finish. And all in all, I was surprised. They were very complimentary of each other.
Yes.
They just don't like each other. Well, Haley definitely doesn't like him in that way.
And they were very complimentary. I mean, the compliments and the adjectives they used to describe each other and the way they talked about each other, I was like, oh, dang. And she even said, it's like, why couldn't we do this earlier? Why? But again, they was trying to get you to do this earlier, but you was caught up on this. He was caught up on this. She was uncomfortable. He was like feeling the attraction thing and not allowing her to get comfortable. And they could have done this earlier. And maybe to open their eyes a little bit more. But this time, like I said, he's so sour tasted at her, and that is not. I really think she's trying now to salvage something. But he's like, you know what?
I'm over it.
I'm over it.
I'm over it.
I'm over it.
And a lot of the things that she said about him, he said about her. And to the point where she was like, we have a lot of similarities. And, I could see maybe why we were matched. And, they to me, they left that space in a good place. And
they just got off on a wrong foot and didn't know how to get it back. And when they hit the reset button, they didn't hit it correctly. They hit this couple has hit the reset button several times and haven't got it right. This is where, and I understand the experts tell them to do it themselves, but I think sometimes you got to get people to sit down and look, this is what I need you guys to do.
Mm-hmm.
I need you to do this. This is where you have to do it. And she didn't do it. And again, this is where they're at. Mm-hmm. Realizing a week into it that,
well, you mean a week left?
Well, realizing a week left that, dang, I see why now we're a match. Mm-hmm. You wasted 7 weeks.
Clara and Ryan, they do the exercise where they have to write love letters to each other. And she's already taken notes. Apparently they had this exercise before they left. So she started kind of thinking about it already. She's got notes in her phone and he's like, oh, wow. Okay. But she's hoping that Ryan will finally be vulnerable, let himself be vulnerable in this letter writing process, even though she knows that's not his natural state. She's hoping that, he can get outside of himself. But he really does. He writes a very sweet letter to her. And to me, it wasn't that much pulling on the emotions as she reflected. I was like, gosh, she is very tearful. I'm just like, it wasn't that good, honey.
She couldn't get herself together.
I think the part that took her in was when he wrote at the end of the letter,
love you.
No, he didn't say love you. He put that closing statement. Love, Ryan. Like, sincerely, Ryan. Like, yours truly, Ryan.
But it's not what,
from Ryan.
No. He put, again, is she didn't see the letter. So him saying, love, Ryan, was all that she wanted to hear. In her mind, it was like, oh, he said, I love me. He loved me. He said, love, Ryan. Again, she heard, I love you from Ryan. That's what she heard. I know what he wrote. And when she heard that, it's like, oh my God. Oh, the tears start to flow. They started flowing. They were flying even more. Her eyes were just as red and puffy.
Yeah.
Because she heard, again, love, Ryan, to her was, I love you.
Clara from Ryan.
Yep, Clara from Ryan.
But she wrote a little sappy letter to, I don't want to say little, like, I'm not minimizing. She wrote a sappy letter to him, and they both felt like the letters came from a good place. And for her especially, she's apparently most of the letters she's written came from a place of despair, just feeling down. When she's written a letter to a guy before, it was like, how could you do me like this? I put my all into it, and look what happened. And so she was like, this letter was different because she didn't write it from that place. She wrote it from a place of sincerity and really care and concern, not why did you do me like that?
Why you treat me so bad?
I don't know what, baby. Why you treat me so bad? Okay, anyway.
But again, it's not their letter was sweet. I think she got some kind of I ain't say full closure, some type of closure, because she heard "love you" in a sentence.
Yeah. Anyway, don't get too happy,
honey. I think that took a lot for Ryan to do.
Don't get too happy, honey.
Again, I think he's playing with her. I think he's playing mind games with her. So for him to put that is calculating. So.
Then we just see all the couples talk about how their day went. Haley and Jacob when they went crabbing, and how Brianna and Vincent's date went with the horse and everything. And Clara talks about how he wrote the love letters and how she got emotional. And she basically said, I just want to be told that I'm wanted and that he's attracted. That's what I want.
He's showing you every single day. He's showing you that you want it. Every single day he shows you that you cared for. Every single day he's letting you move into his apartment, into his house. He's letting you rearrange things. He's having conversation with you. He's showing you every single day. Is it? I mean, everybody's different.
But he's not showing her in a romantic way. Like she said, they've developed a good friendship. It's like they're good friends, and they've gotten a friend type of love. When do we get from that friend love, from that phileos, from that Philadelphia love to the eros? When do we get to the romantic love?
She's doing a fellatio type of love.
I didn't say fellatio. I said phileos.
But I'm saying, so you talking about the friendship type of love? Do you do fellatio to your friend on a nightly basis? Again, y'all doing everything. He's showing you that he loves you. He just hasn't said it. And I guess the words mean more to her than the actions.
Well, let's even get past. Okay, let's get past the actual physical stuff. Again, I want you to show me that you're attracted. They're sitting there doing tantric yoga. She's sitting on his lap. They breathing in each other's face. They're breathing together, and all he can talk about is a cramp in his leg. So let's get outside of that. That's what I'm saying. We got friend love, but where is romantic love? Because she don't need the romance to do that. She said it's just the act for her. So there's not nothing for her. And apparently it ain't nothing for him, because when he get his rocks off, he be like, good, I'm straight, going to sleep. Don't know about you. I'm going to sleep. So when do we get from that Philadelphia, that phileos, that brotherly friendship love to that eros? Because they not at the eros. You could tell they're not at the eros.
They'll be at the eros in about 7 days when they say cut.
They're not at the eros love.
When they say cut, he's going to give her everything that she wanted. And just saying on camera. And they're already making plans for that. We'll get to that in a minute too, but they're already making plans for that. So they already know what they want to do and when and she's willing to put up with it. So from what I'm reading through it, she's speaking just for the cameras.
I don't know, but
she's talking for just for the cameras. Because if she wasn't talking just for the cameras, why is she making all these plans? Why are you moving in with somebody already if you don't know your decision?
I agree. Maybe because, like you said, like Christina, she don't really have a permanent place to stay.
But then you sit and mix signals.
And they're friends, don't you? You can have a friend that's a roommate. Come on, stop playing. Act like you don't know. He's moving his friend in. She don't have nowhere to stay. Mm-hmm. And she'll help him organize. But anyway, so we see them cooking. They're going to cook the crabs that Haley and Jacob caught. And this was hilarious to me. I was like, why are y'all playing with these crabs? Dunk them crabs in the pot. First of all, your pot's too small. They're going to climb out.
Yeah, from a former country boy who went crabbing, like
you ain't no former country boy. You are country.
Well, from a country boy
and who formerly used to go crabbing.
Who wants to go back crabbing. Now, I was kind of like, y'all doing this all wrong. All wrong. Just pick them crabs up by the back of their tail, which paralyzes them, and put them in the pot. You have tongs. My boy...
you got Google to figure out how to do it. They was playing.
Even Vincent, y'all scared of these crabs. A little crab bite ain't going to kill you. I got marks on my hands now from crab bites. It ain't going to kill you. You pick that crab up, put him in the pot.
How about just take the box
and shake it?
But see, why you can't do this? You got your pot's too little.
Why you can't do it? Your pot little, you already filled it up with water. So you put the crabs in first, and you put the water and stuff in the pot after the fact. And then you had too much water in the pot. Anyway, I'm not.
Yeah, that whole thing was a mess.
I'm not telling you how to cook crabs, but look, I'm a crab cooker.
It was funny. It was funny. Jake said he feels good. It feels good to be laughing and having a good time with everyone. You know, it seems like he's in a good place. You know, when they sit down to eat, Ryan has brings up the conversation. Have y'all talked about decision day, post decision day?
And before we go there, irritating me about them eating crabs. I'm sorry, I'm on the crab thing. Eating it with a knife. Eric stabbed the crab with the knife and picked it up. It's already dead. Pull the shell up.
There's definitely an art to eating
crabs.
Those kind of crabs, not crab legs, but like regular
hard shell
crabs. It's an art to it. And
they defied the whole art of eating crab. I was mad.
They obviously don't do this all the time.
They don't do this all the time. Maybe because people in Georgia. I'm not talking about people in Georgia.
I don't know, but I was kind of irritated by that too, because I was like, why don't you know how? Why are you catching crabs and eating crabs if you don't know how to eat them? You know what? It's just a waste of time. And even Eric was like, oh, it's a lot of meat in here. Like somebody else, I think it was Virginia, was like, oh, really? Like you don't know how to get, man. Anyway,
I digress. We might do a video on how to eat crabs.
So Vincent talks about the fact that Brianna's gonna move into his apartment. You know, I like my little space, and she's like, are you sure about that? I don't know how I feel about being in a smaller 1-bedroom apartment. We'll have to figure it out. She's concerned. I understand. She does not look like, we know he went with her to get her stuff before they moved in the apartment. She got a lot of stuff. And her basically it boiled down to is like, oh, you already got the decision made. I'm not like completely on board with that.
She's not on board with that. She didn't argue there like Haley and Jacob, but she just like, okay, they're gonna have to have a conversation. Now, if it's about cost cutting and saving measures and saving money, I can see. But he was like, I only got a few months left. He said he had until April
on his lease.
His lease. Why are we moving to your apartment if you got until April? And we live down the street from each other.
Which they said at the table. They live down the street from each other.
So, again, economically, we can, if it's doing economically, let's go to the apartment who is cheaper. And this is what I thought, even when it comes to, what's the girl name? Virginia. I'm about to call her something else like we call her on Sundays. But Virginia, you're getting paid for Married at First Sight. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. Break that lease. Mm-hmm. Take the money that you're getting paid in.
Yeah, because Virginia said the same thing.
I got 4 months left.
She has 4 months left on her lease.
Break that lease. Give them 4 months and call it a day.
Real quick, Clara and Ryan said they've already worked on combining items. They're doing like a potluck. They have some hard stops. Who's taking what, when, and where. So they're already trying to figure that out, which goes back to like what you were saying. Why are we talking about and making plans for moving in with each other if we haven't actually made a decision? He says decisions have been made.
We don't even need to watch Decision Day, right? We don't even.
They might throw a monkey wrench in there.
We don't even need to watch the Decision Day. All these couples have already given us their decision.
They might throw a monkey wrench.
There's no monkey. Look. She already moved in. She's not leaving. She's not leaving. Ryan. Clara's not leaving Ryan. She's already packed her stuff in. She got squatter rights at this point. All right. She's not moving. Virginia ain't going nowhere. She already said, "Oh, we're gonna live apart for a couple months." Again, we're gonna live apart. The decision's already made. All right. Vincent, we're moving into our apartment. My apartment, my 1-bedroom apartment. Decision is already made. Now, of course, these are the first couples that have already made the decision before decision day.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of couples make decisions before decision day, and it's TV, so we just do the whole drama thing.
Mm-hmm.
But this is really the first time that we've seen a whole bunch of couples give you their decision before decision day.
Yeah.
Haley and Jacob couldn't even involve themselves in this conversation.
Yeah, you already know what time it is.
She ain't going to the beach.
Condo. And then one thing, Virginia said, no, I'm going to stay in my place when my lease is up, list and place separate. And Haley's like, well, how do you think that's going to go? And Eric was like, I don't like it. I don't want to do it.
You're married. You shouldn't be living separate. I mean, again, unless he was deployed someplace, then that's a different story.
But she's like, I need some place pet friendly. And we've got all these animals and I want to be comfortable. And I don't know if we're going to be there in his condo. And I want us to get a place together. And I'm like, but still, you're not going to stay with him?
Yeah, you're not going to. Seeing your pet somewhere until y'all can get somewhere comfortable. Again, this is your husband. We talked about the pecking order, right? We talked about the pecking order. We get into the pecking order because her animals are right underneath her friends. It may be her religion. I don't know. Let's say she's religious. So God first, second is her friends, third is the animals,
and then Eric.
Eric is fourth on her list because everything besides Eric. And she's not changing her mind.
Yeah,
and this then Jake brought up, ain't he allergic to cats? Jacob said it.
Oh, that too. Because Haley's like, which they have a lot to talk about considering they're not moving in. But anyway, Haley's like, okay, so if she agrees to move in, what concessions have you made? And Eric's like, I've made concessions. You know what I'm saying? I've made concessions. I've done everything. She's the one not trying to budge. Anytime you want to have your dog and all your cats in there, and that's when Jake suggests, well, isn't he allergic to cats? They talk about him being allergic. Why don't you have a cat room? Why can't you meet in the middle? Have a designated spot for your cats. She's like, yeah, no.
No. I'm not locking them in the room. I'm not locking them up.
Later on, we see Eric and Virginia talking, and she talks about how my cats sleep with me every night. They fit in this little crevice, and I can't put them out. I'm not locking them out the room. But you want me to lock them out? Can't you just take some medicine? Can't you just get over it? Can't you? Don't say that.
This is the asinine comment she made. I have slept with them for the last 5 years. No, you haven't, boo. You haven't slept with them for the last 8 weeks, and you're fine. And you slept well for the last 8 weeks.
And the cats are fine. So guess what? You can do without the cats. Matter of fact, you're on this retreat, and you don't have Rocky. And you're sleeping in the bed with your husband. Guess what? You're fine. So you could be fine and not letting these cats sleep in the bed. You're trying to kill your husband. That's what it sounds like. I mean, she absolutely was like, can't you just take some allergy medicine? I don't want to have to take allergy medicine every day just because you're a cat.
She living her life. She's treating her animals like she wants to be treated. She wants no rules. She wants no boundaries. She wants no guidelines. She wants nothing. He was like, oh, we can train the cats not to. They don't know how to not be in the bed. He's like, yo, we can train them not to be in the bed.
No, not even train them. You just don't let them do it.
You just don't let them do it.
He's like, just don't let them. Just don't let them be in there. I was like, wow, she just really was not in. And I know a lot of y'all are like, Eric treats her like he's her daddy. She absolutely acted like a spoiled, rotten teenage brat. Don't say that. Don't talk about my cats. Well, you can take some medicine.
Don't say it like that.
Just take your allergy medicine.
The dude is allergic to the cats. We're not doing that. He told you from day one. He went to visit her apartment. He had to take the allergy medicine. It's like, no, we're not doing that because, again, He's not. You're not trying to move to my condo because of your pets and because of your cats. And some of you, a lot of animal people, and I understand you got the attachment to your animals. But again, what is more important to you? Your attachment to your animals, or your
attachment to your spouse,
or your attachment to your spouse. She is more attached to Rocky and these two cats than she is attached to Eric. She's more attached to these dudes that she be hanging out with the bars with and sleeping on the couch than she is with Eric. Eric needs to learn where he places in this marriage, and he places down here. Everything else, his place is up here, and she's stubborn and not willing to compromise. Do I think they still be married on decision day? Of course I will do, because he doesn't want to leave, she doesn't want to be divorced, and they're going to be miserable together. And he's better go ahead and get a nice insurance policy, because he can be sneezing and coughing and hacking up all kind of stuff, because he's going to sleep with those cats.
The point was made, this is true. All of the ladies on there, I believe it was Haley or Clara, one of them said it, is this the predicament they're in? All the ladies have been single for a while.
Yes.
And that's the obstacle they have to overcome. They've been used to being by themselves. They've been used to being independent, and fitting somebody into their life and having to change is going to take them a while. They have to change from being single to married and realize it's not just me. There's some things I'm going to have to change. I can't expect my spouse to do all the changing. We're both going to have to make some changes. And that's the issue that they're all going to run into, except for Haley, because Haley doesn't have to make any changes because she and Jacob aren't going to be together.
Right, they're going to have to make concessions. You know, again, you're married, you're going to have to make concessions. I wasn't a dog person. I had a dog, but our dogs grew up outside in the back of the backyard with the chain around their neck. But when we got married, we got a dog.
Just for a little bit. It's not like we had her for a long time, but
she stayed in the house.
She did. She was a terror. She was a terror.
She stayed in the house. You make concessions, and you begin to deal with those type of things. Again, she's not willing to make concessions. He's not willing to budge. And this is what's funny, because I want to touch this. He said, "I don't like to be given ultimatums."
Mm-hmm. But he gives them all the time. But he
gives ultimatums all the time. Well, you do this, I'm leaving. I'm gone. It's a deal breaker. If you do this, it's gone. I'm a deal breaker.
All the time.
Isn't it amazing the person that don't like to give ultimatums, don't like to get ultimatums?
Gives them all the time.
Gives them all the time, but don't like receiving them. Wow, what a novelty.
So anyway, the guys go to the fire pit, the chickies talk, and then 2 hours later, that's when they had the whole conversation, Virginia and Eric, about the animals in the bed. And then the next scene we see, Jacob is packing up his stuff in the wee hours of the morning. Now, mind you, we just said they had a good time cooking and eating. They had a good time with the letter writing. The game was good. You know what I'm saying? They did the crabbing or whatever. You know, they've been on a good little flow. And he literally picks his stuff up and leaves. And I'm like, dude didn't say nothing.
He makes sure he grabs his meat too. He gets his meat out the refrigerator, put it in the bag. He like, I'm not leaving this meat.
But I'm like, I know it. I know it. He didn't say anything to her. And we find out, we're right, he didn't. She wakes up and she goes looking for him. And she's like, he's gone. She thought that they were getting on a better footing. They were in a better place, but guess not. And Eric says, yeah, I was up, and I noticed he was gone. His car was gone. It's like, wow. I'm like, Jacob, come on, man.
He could have said bye. Again, if he knew he was going to leave early the next morning, that final night that was there, he could have been like, you know what, guys, I'm going to leave in the morning. I'll see you guys, when we get back in Atlanta, blah, 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 blah. At least Mike and Brandon said that. Again, you got to be able to make right is right and do things in decency and order. Hey, Haley, I'm heading back out. It's not like he had to go to work, because get IT guy, probably he can do whatever he needs to do from there. He just was wrong in this. To me, you're wrong. You just hopped up in the middle of the night, packed your stuff, grabbed your food that you had left over, and you bounced.
That was terrible. I can't ride with you on that, Jacob. I can't ride with you. But anyway, the other couples just talk about how, it was a much needed vacay away. And again, Brianna and Vincent hit on the fact that, don't get so comfortable and set on the fact that I'm going to move into your little apartment. That's may not be what happened. Clara and Ryan talk about.
No, don't skip over because he was like, don't skip over that because he was like, he looked at her like, what? Like, yeah, you are. Like, yeah, like I said, you're gonna move my apartment. Like, yeah, you are. You know, it was much more to that because he was looking like, okay,
And she was looking like that too, like.
Which y'all, we haven't had this conversation. To me, again, which one is more comfortable? Which one is more economical? I guess I always go on the economic side more so than the comfortable side. So I mean,
obviously.
Oh, you throwing shots?
Huh? No, I'm talking about Brianna and Vincent. So then, Clara and Ryan, Clara and Ryan talk about the fact that decision day is a week away. He's not too nervous. She says she's not either. His letter encouraged her, and he's still not ready to say I love you, and he hopes she's not disappointed.
Yeah.
And again, she says we definitely got the friendship love, but can we get to that arrows?
But her friendship love is really good, as I mentioned earlier.
Anyway,
because she does a lot for her friends.
That's it.
But it is. But how do you expect, if you're giving your friend all this, how do you expect her to get to the other type of love?
Because she's giving him all that. That's her plan.
But again, you're giving him all this type of love, and you want to get to another level. He probably already thinks that way. Is that, oh man, I'm at this level. But you want him to say again, he's at this level.
He's we know he's at that level with Clara, but she wants him to be at that level too. Trying to get there.
She wants him to verbalize it. That's all.
Anyway, that's it for the retreat. I think all in all, the retreat turned out good, except for the fact that Jacob just jumped up and left.
Yeah, he just hopped up and balled out. Again, my top
and Virginia's picking an allergy reaction causing organism over Eric.
Over Eric. So if I had to do my top 4 this week, I'm gonna say top 5. We didn't see the other couple. Of course, Chris and Paige at the bottom 5. We got Haley and Jacob at 4. We have Eric and Virginia at 3. We have Clara and Ryan as my number 2, and we have Brianna and Vincent at number 1 for this week.
So let us know. I think all of us are pretty much on the same page, but let us know who you think will say yes on decision day. Give us your pecking order.
Yeah, give us your pecking order. Hey, make sure you also hit the subscribe button, the bell notification, so you'll miss any of our reviews.
Thanks. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.